The bells of Drakemarch tolled low and heavy, mourning a lord who would not hear them. Lord Garrick was gone. His daughter, Serenya, stood at the foot of his bier, the weight of 1,000 years pressing against her shoulders. The hall smelled of pine tar and ash. Torches spat as if in protest. Nobles whispered like ravens, measuring the new heiress with hungry eyes. She wore no crown yet, only a simple black gown, her face pale but unflinching. Outside, snow drifted from the gray mountains, as though the land itself wept for the last Wolf of Drakemarch. Serenya's jaw trembled only once, when she placed her hand on the coffin lid. Her father's ring, heavy with frost, was slid onto her finger. From this moment, the realm was hers. But not freely. Even as the mourners filed out, a letter arrived, sealed in green wax that shimmered like captured sea foam. It bore Empress Nyla's mark. The words within offered congratulations on her inheritance, and a warning: Serenya's future was not her own. Duke Merek'S of Ravengard, ambitious and patient, would soon arrive to claim her hand by Valdorian decree. The marriage was to secure peace. In truth, it would secure chains. Serenya closed her fist over the letter. Peace, she thought, had never been what wolves were bred for. Far south, Nyla reclined on her marble throne, a goblet of honey wine poised between her fingers. Her lips curled as she reread her own marriage proposal to Merek'S, sent weeks ago, now ripening into fruit. If Serenya bent beneath the yoke, Merek'S would be hers, bound by alliance and lust for power. Together, they would unseat Althar of Valdoria, leaving Eldoria a prize ripe for the taking. Her court laughed at her wit, but her eyes remained fixed on the sea beyond the balcony. Plots were tides. They rose when the moon demanded. Eldoria still smoldered from battle. The villagers patched their roofs with soot-stained hands, their voices subdued, their hope fragile. Varkor lay upon the cliffs, his golden scales dulled by wounds that oozed faint smoke. Elara sat beside him, hand pressed to his chest, as if her touch could anchor him to life. Finn moved through the village shadows, but not as he once had. His eyes traced every corner too long. His fingers brushed window ledges where watchers might rest. The note he had brought back, "Your traitor wears honest eyes," still burned in Elara's cloak, a whisper too heavy to discard. One night, when the moon bled faint silver over the hall, Finn caught movement where none should be. A shadow slipping from beam to beam. He followed, silent as an oath. The intruder moved with the grace of a serpent, slipping a thin blade from his sleeve, its edge dark with poison. Finn lunged, steel flashing. The stranger twisted free, but not before dropping a shard of wax crushed beneath a heel. Green. Nyla's green. Finn's breath hissed through his teeth. Nyla's net was wider than they had guessed. The assassin vanished into the night, but not before another clue fell. The hilt of the dagger bore no crest of Valdoria. Instead, a tiny sigil, etched in pearl, unmistakable. The mark of Aurelith, Queen Meralda's island assassins. One blade, two masters. Nyla's wax, Meralda's dagger. Eldoria was caught between serpents. North again, across the snowy ridges, General Kalen rode with only 3 at his side. Rorick, grizzled and broad as an oak. Jareth, young-eyed but sharp, his tongue quick. And Brenna, her braid dark as midnight, her bow strung across her back. They had cut him free from Dreadbane's bonds and fled into the night, hunted by men they once commanded. Kalen's silence weighed heavier than the frost. He had given everything to Valdoria, only to be branded traitor. Now he rode with nothing but loyalty unspoken and the memory of a king's cruelty. Yet even stripped of command, he carried himself like iron. At a fireless camp, he finally spoke. Althar's war is madness. If Eldoria falls, the realms follow.
We stand on the precipice of a choice. One that will define our legacy.
Rorick grunted, nodding. Brenna's gaze did not waver. Jareth only smiled, thin and tired. They had no banners, but they had chosen their side. Back in Eldoria, the elders debated beneath smoke-stained rafters. Fear crackled in every voice. They argued names for a traitor in their midst, but none dared point fingers aloud. Elara listened, her hand on the note in her cloak, her patience fraying. "We must stay united and strong."
"We must stay united and strong,"
she said at last, her words a blade of calm. The hall fell silent. Even Varkor stirred outside, his massive tail scraping stone. For now, the village obeyed. The night thickened with omens. On the cliffs, Finn stood apart, the shard of green wax in his palm, its glow faint in the moonlight. His mind turned like a wheel between Nyla, Meralda, and the unseen traitor among them. Each thread pulled tighter, and still the knot refused to break. Below, the villagers sang a low, mournful song for the dead. Their voices rose thin against the sea's roar, a reminder that survival was not victory, only a reprieve. At dawn, Duke Merek rode into Drakemarch's gates, his armor gleaming, his smile sharper than any blade. Serenya stood upon the steps of her hall, the cold biting her cheeks. Behind her, banners of the wolf hung limp in the still air. She did not bow. Merek dismounted with practiced ease, eyes drinking in both her defiance and her vulnerability. He took her hand as if it already belonged to him. "Lady Serenya," he said, though the words felt like chains. She said nothing, only glanced at the green-sealed letter Nyla had sent days before. Chains could be broken. Wolves could still bite. On the cliffs of Eldoria, Varkor lifted his head, his molten eyes glowing faint against the fading dawn. His chest still bore scars, smoke curling from wounds that refused to close. Elara stood at his side, Emberblade in her grasp, the note heavy in her cloak. Finn lingered behind her, shadows in his eyes, the green wax shard turning in his hand like a question that would not die. They did not speak. They only watched the horizon, where storm clouds gathered again, not of rain, but of war. Eldoria still breathed, but danger pressed from every horizon. And somewhere in the silence between dragon's breath and human doubt, legends sharpened their teeth. Thank you for watching. I'm just a hard-working YouTuber, trying my best to bring you interesting stories. I will greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. It means the world to me. Thank you once again.